Hello, hello. Welcome to Free.Spirit, where our mission is to spread love and positivity. Through energy, God, and spirituality, we will explain our spiritual journeys and share things we learned along the way. To be clear, we use the term God loosely. When we use the word God, please know that we're not referring to any specific religion or a set of beliefs. To us, God just exists in the universe without any restrictions. He or she has many names and shows itself differently to each one of us. We welcome all beliefs and walks of life, and we're just here to provide a space for people to be heard and share their stories without judgment.
All right. So during this episode and many others, I'm going to reference Jesus a lot. And this is by no means am I pushing any kind of Christianity. These are just what resonate well with me, who I walk with and encounter a lot of my experiences with. So by no means am I pushing this on anybody. We're open to your spirituality, your higher power. This is just simply my experience. You know, like I said, my walk, and I'm going to reference him a lot because I am very connected with him. But by no means am I pushing anything to our listeners.
So, without further ado, welcome to the second episode of Free.Spirit. So we did get some feedback from some people. They say that we said like too many times and and stuff like that. So that was great feedback. So thank you. We really appreciate that. One of the main things that people were asking was people don't know exactly who we are and how we met and, how we kind of came to be who we are. So I think we'll go ahead and touch on that real quick just to kind of give you guys a brief background on us, just so you know where we came from and why we're kind of doing this. And so I guess we'll just get started with, my least favorite thing, talking about myself. So I grew up in New Jersey and I joined the Air Force, got married. I had a baby. When my daughter was about a year and a half, both my husband and I, we both deployed at the same time. During this time, he decided that he wanted to commission or become an officer in the military. So when we got home from deployment, he had gotten out of active duty, went to school, graduated, and then went through pilot training. And this entire process took about 6 years. In the beginning, it was okay. But once we started going, the last year and a half, it started getting pretty rough for me just because it was just me and my kids. And then my husband would be driving to and from his base to come see us on the weekend. So he would drive 4 hours to come hang out with us during the weekend. And then he'd have to leave early to, drive 4 hours back. And it was just a lot on both of us, honestly. That's when my depression kind of started. I had postpartum depression, and kind of with each child, it kind of got worse. And then the last about year and a half of him going through training is when it really got bad. And, I just felt like I had to put myself last because my kids came first and I just wasn't taking care of myself emotionally, mentally, physically. I was, because I was going to the gym and everything. And that was kind of like my outlet, but it just wasn't enough. So my husband knew all the stress that I was under, and he actually considered dropping out just because it was such a difficult time. But, I told him we're almost at the end, hang in there. Like we got this, we're almost there. And so he ended up talking to his supervision, and they were going to create a TDY for me. That way me and my family could move to his base, and they would create a job for me and we could all be together. So on his end, everything was set in stone and ready to go. But when I brought this idea of the TDY up to my supervision, I actually got denied twice, and they said it was for manning purposes because they didn't have enough 7 levels or craftsman, supervisor, trainer kind of people. So they denied me, and they kind of just brushed me off, and they were like, we know you're strong. He's almost done. You guys are doing a good job. We know that you're strong. You got this. By the way, congrats on your quarterly award. And honestly, it was a little frustrating because they didn't realize that I suffered from high functioning anxiety. That's how I was able to, do my job, do it well, and do my family stuff. So it was just, it's kind of like a slap in the face because they didn't really support me and they just kind of brushed me off. So that didn't help my situation at all. I ended up going to mental health because I was just at that lowest point, and I didn't know where else to go. I didn't have any help. I didn't have anyone I could talk to. The people I did tell my situation to just seemed like they just didn't care, and they just kind of, move along. And So it was kind of like a last resort. So I did end up going to mental health where, I did get some help, but it wasn't the kind of help that I actually needed. Like it was a good start because, I could talk to her and I could tell her things, and it was nice to have an outlet, but because she wasn't, she was never military, she didn't really know all the terms and, the terminology and things that we actually went through, and she didn't understand. She's like, yeah, I know you're military, so you can't just like move and be with your husband, but that's what you need. And she's like, is there any way that you can do that? And I was like, well, and I told her, the story of the TDY and my supervision. She's like, so they just don't understand your situation? I said, no, they understand my situation. They're just, I guess, not willing to help because we're on the, the back end of it. And, she was just kind of like shocked because, she's a civilian and she just didn't understand. We can't just move where, whenever we want. So she was just a good outlet, but it just really didn't give me exactly what I needed. So I was getting a little bit of help, but this is pretty much when I just kind of had to let go. And this is when I just gave it to God and kind of stepped back. And I was like, you know what, I will be patient because I've been feeling like I've been getting that sign of just be patient. Everything will work out. I'm just sitting here trying to control the whole situation, and it really just didn't get me anywhere. So I just kind of told myself and prayed to God, and I said, God, I know whatever path you're leading me to is for the best for me. So please just, I will be patient. I will sit here. I will go through the motions and allow you to take over. It was actually kind of funny because, I say the sooner you let go, the sooner things are going to work out. It ended up being the greatest thing ever because within that week, got a new commander. I got a new first shirt. The first shirt is just somebody who is responsible for the welfare and the morale of all the members in their group. So I ended up getting new supervision above me, and it ended up being for the best because I ended up going to my first shirt and I was talking to her, and she had suggested a Palace Chase, and that's where you get out of active duty and end your contract earlier, but then you have to do double your time in the reserves. But at this point I was like, this is my way out. Like I would totally go reserves. Even though that wasn't my life plan, I wanted to retire active duty, but everything happens for a reason. So I ended up applying for Palace Chase. I actually got approved. The new commander, she signed off on it right away. I think it was just like a month later, I got the approval that I was accepted to Palace Chase. And then, I just started out processing. By the time I started making, my out processing briefs and stuff, my husband had gotten orders to Alabama, and literally he got there. And then the next week I out processed and I was driving with my family to go meet him in Alabama. So it just worked out for the best to just kind of step back, and instead of trying to control the entire situation and put all the puzzle pieces together to make something work, I just needed to step back, let go, breathe for a minute, give it to God. And he kind of just took everything and made everything perfect. That's why I kind of stress the letting go and giving it to God, because that's the one thing that, absolutely changed my entire life. Since I got out of active duty and moved to Alabama, my life has just been amazing because I've been receiving messages from God and just really reacting to them and listening more. And it's amazing because once you listen, you realize how many signs and messages you've been missing. It's interesting that when you can quiet your mind and quiet yourself, how much you can actually recognize or interpret. So quiet your mind and everything, the floodgates are open. So since we moved from Alabama, my husband, he's been flying. We got orders to another base, but he's been flying and he loves it. My kids absolutely love their new school. I just started going back to school because for me, that whole going to mental health and not being able to really get the help that I needed really kind of rubbed me in a wrong way. Like I said, it was not her fault that she didn't have the knowledge, but I feel like I could contribute, or we just need to contribute to military members a little bit better. So I ended up going back to school. I'm trying to become a psychiatrist, trying to specialize in veterans. So that's kind of like my goal right now. I ended up joining the reserve unit at my husband's base, and they've been amazing. Like, this is probably the best squadron I have been in. They're just so amazing, and they take care of their people and they actually care. And I feel like this is really, truly exactly where I'm supposed to be at this time in my life. So everything's just been so easy and just full of love and laughter and happiness since all this happened. So yeah, so you can just see how God has just played a very important part in my life, specifically in between the 6 years that, I actually allowed myself to not like myself, to feel depressed, to just kind of get into this weird funk that I just could not climb out of. He actually showed up in such a special way for me because, as a kid and everything, I've always believed in God and I didn't follow the Bible or anything, but God had always just shown me him and who he is all the time. And, I joined the military and things get really crazy. So God has always been there, like since I was a kid, but he just showed up in a more special way just this time. So that was very special and important to me. And I kind of do like sharing this story just because I get excited about it, because when I tell other people, it kind of opens them up to some experiences that they had. And it's kind of cool because we kind of bump our experiences against each other. And then I can take what they said. And a lot of times it's kind of funny how it works, but a lot of times I'll meet somebody else who had the same situation or same circumstance. And I can be like, hey, well, I knew this person and they did X, Y, and Z to get out of this, this issue or problem. And it ends up helping them. So just building off of each other and feeding off of each other. And that's kind of like what me and Soto do is we'll sit there and talk on the phone and, our ideas just keep going. And we're like, oh, hey, I spoke to this person about this, or, most of the times we don't use names. We're very confidential. So, it's just kind of like, oh, I had a situation where this person did this. And then we'll just kind of go into it and see like the bits and pieces of everything. So I don't know. For me, talking about it helps. And it's kind of therapeutic for me to speak about it because it was such a hard time in my life, but it's made me who I am now. And it makes me want to just keep pressing forward and see exactly what life has for me and, what I can create with my life and how many people I can touch with my life. Just grow from everything. Because in my eyes, I think that everybody should be learning at all times. I think that a part of life is just learning from our mistakes, learning from each other, just helping each other grow instead of suppressing each other and putting each other down. That's just my feelings. Just want the world to be a better place. I do think by making small changes and putting a little bit of positivity into the world, if I just influence one person, then I've done my job. But yeah, so now I'm done my rant and on to Jesse.
Yeah, so a lot of good feedback. Thank you. It kind of lines things up, like Nikki was saying. This is our first one, so please bear with us. I think Nikki said we are going to make a rap video with all the ums and likes that we that we said. Yeah. So anyways, a little bit about me. I was born in Texas, and then my mom, I guess she was only married for a little bit and divorced when I was really young. Anyways, we ended up moving to Las Vegas, Nevada afterwards, just because where we were at in Texas was just, we grew up pretty poor. We had everything we needed. We had food, we had a house, we had a bed, we had clothes, but didn't have a TV for long as didn't have couches. So my mom picked up a really good job in Vegas, and then our lives changed. And so I ended up enlisting from Las Vegas. I tried going to the academy, but the Air Force Academy, but the liaison that I was working with had committed suicide. And I didn't know that until after I left the basic, because I was waiting on him, and I thought maybe he just blew me off. And me not knowing the process of the call, I just kind of just said, I'm just going to go enlisted, and ended up enlisting. Was in security forces for a good portion, maybe 6-7 years of my career. And during that time, I was in 2005, I was injured in Iraq. And the crazy part about all this was that before I even went to Iraq, before I even set foot in the military, God gave me a message when I was young that I was going to get seriously injured in the military, but that he would be with me. So going back a little bit more, my mom was really, really connected. She was really, really spiritually in tune to God. And through her, I watched, and I would get messages, and so it was very open in my family to allow God to come. It was no specific religion, it was just allowing light to come into our lives. So anyways, I would get saints into my dreams or come to me it always happened at night, or I'd see him walking up and down my stairways in my house. So we were very, very close. And a particular saint that was really close to us was Saint San Ignacio. And so he was always around. And he was the one that actually gave me the message about me getting seriously injured in Iraq. So anyways, pushing forward, I got deployed. I got injured in Iraq. I got a Purple Heart out of there. So, a lot of healing I went through spiritually and physically during that time. And, there was some things, I couldn't watch war movies for a while. There was just certain things that I couldn't do because of the stressors from Operation Iraqi Freedom that I was going through. And I didn't really want that negative experience to be me. So I had to make a choice whether to let it become me or not. And so I chose for it not to be who I was, because it didn't define who I was. Because we're going to go through things in life that going to greatly impact you, and that, you're going to have questions on why did this happen, and, see things that you shouldn't see, but, that's life. Stuff like that happens to people, and not everyone, but to most. And so, you can't let things define who you are if it's not adding value to you. And most importantly, you got to look out for your families too. And so that have families when you experience these things, because you don't want to dwell in negativity, because it's just so easy to get caught up in it. So anyways, I was dealing with the spirituality, just praying. It's just, remove this from me. This is not adding, it's not going to add any value to anybody. So anyways, while I was transitioning all that, I remember when I got flown out to Tikrit, to Balad, to Landstuhl, and I was laying in a hospital bed, and God said, he put that message in me saying, remember I told you that you were going to get seriously injured and I'll be with you. And it was just so funny, because when I was downrange, I never thought about that at all. I never thought about the message that God had given me. I was just kind of more worried about staying alive, being on high alert, watching for roadside bombs. It was just, I was a gunner doing for a gun truck company, 1058 gun truck company out there. And we were attached to the Army. I think it was the 101st that we were attached to or assigned to. But anyways, it was like pure Air Force convoy. So that way that you guys kind of get an idea of what I did. So, me being security forces, I was a gunner. So I was open target. If those that know anything about security forces and being a gunner in the turret. So anyways, I do remember, just laying there, like I said, in Landstuhl, and I kind of just started my, getting closer to God for, thanking him for, me just being alive and having all my fingers and toes, and able to walk away from this. And I think, so the Air Force, they do a mental evaluation on you, and they stay up with you when you experience stuff like this. And one of the psychiatrists said, hey, which you have post-traumatic stress, but you also have post-traumatic growth. And so at the time I was like, growth, like, what is that? You always hear the negative side of PTSD, but there's a positive side as well. So it's post-traumatic growth. So where you take something so traumatic and then you grow from it. And so I thought that was pretty interesting that they were able to, let me know that I was growing from this experience, and it wasn't hindering me. And so, anyway, so shooting, a couple years forward, I went into QA, and that's where I met Nikki. And there was, it was an awesome group. I mean, I was one of the best groups I've ever worked for. There was a lot of individuals that had open minds and were really, really connected into God, and just so open with one another that I think we even started like a group. I forget the name of the group that we started when we used to go to, I think Tea to Go or something like that. And they would come and they would talk. Do you remember, Nikki, what that name of that?
I don't remember the name, but yeah, we would just go out to a different restaurant or something for lunch, like every once in a while, and just have open discussions. We would go, to Tea to Go. We went to that barbecue place at one time, and all of us just became so very close. And, we would share our stories. And it was actually really awesome to hear what other people had to say and listen to their walk, because it puts them into a different perspective. But yeah, I remember everyone was on board. Everyone loved doing it. We all went, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. A group of individuals that were just so open and receptive to just receiving the light, and a lot of questions were asked, a lot of experiences were given, messages. It was great. So anyways, I think I was remember talking to someone about an encounterment I had, and I remember Nikki was kind of looking over, but I didn't know if she was listening, and because it was an open cubicle, so everyone could hear everything.
Yeah, I was
So
I was definitely peeking over, listening.
and so we were just talking and talking, and I don't know the conversation, and I guess just spreading the light, and just being truthful, and trying to add value to people. It just caught her and captivated her. And I remember her asking me questions about some of these things that happened in the past, and these walks, or these experiences she was having. And I remember telling her, it's like, you're there. I said, you're there. God is wanting to use you, but the beauty of, is that he gives you free will, gives you the choice, right? So, I just let her know, it's up to you. What do you want? Whether you accept your gift or you don't, because some of it is confusing, especially if you really don't know anything about it. You're like, is this the best thing for me or not? And so there's a lot that goes on. And then other factors too. She was going through a lot with her family. And so it's just, things can just start piling up, and can be overwhelming. But anyways, she ended up just kind of like, what do I got to lose but the gain? And decided just to trust what God was giving her, and then turned her life around. I mean, like almost immediately. And so I think that message there was, give it all to God. He'll handle the things for you. He'll take your burden away. So anyways, since then we kind of just ask each other questions all the time. But I think we've known each other like 5-6 years, right? Or is it longer?
Yeah, it's about 5 years, but
So
it definitely feels a lot longer because I moved out of state, and we've always just kind of kept in touch and always talked. So it's awesome to hear, what's going on in his life and my life, and we kind of just put it together, and it's just kind of how we've kind of grown together and just became like really good friends, even though we're so far apart. We definitely share like a spiritual connection. It's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great. I remember one time, like maybe I think in 2020, I was in Saudi Arabia towards the end, like the middle towards the end, and I get a lot of visions in my dream. And guess who shows up? Nikki's like, "Hello." I was like, "Oh," I was like, this. I mean, I felt her like so real. It was just, I knew she came to me. I was like, "All right, she's coming in my dreams. Let me call her the next day." And I was like, "Hey, I see you came visit me in my dream. What's going on?" And I forget what happened or why you came to my dream. I just know that you showed up because I think you were like wanting to ask me a question or something. Or
So it was actually really funny. So, I've been on this spiritual journey. So I was reading some things, and I'm like, you know what? Let me try this out. Let me see if I can do this, because I do feel like me and Jesse are very connected on that level. So it was just pretty much seeing if I could get a message to him without picking up a phone kind of thing. So, I did like my little meditation and stuff like that. And I knew where he was. So I kind of just like zoomed in on him and like, I guess, projected myself there. It was funny because he had called me the next day, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I saw you. You were there, and you were sitting there waving with that big old smile on your face." And
yeah,
it was
great.
really funny. And I was like, and that's exactly what I was projecting to him. So for him to just call me, and I was just kind of practicing and kind of like seeing, what's possible. Cause I kind of got that message of, through a dream to like, hey, try this out. And I was like, what's that? What is this? Like, okay, let me try it out. And then, so I didn't say anything, and I just kind of did it. And that's exactly how I was trying to project myself to him, to give him that message of like, hey, it's me, hope you're having fun over there. But the fact that he called me the next day and, told me exactly how I was trying to project myself and show him like, I was there, was like a huge confirmation that how connected our souls are together. The fact that he was able to pick up on that was actually really amazing.
Oh yeah, it was pretty cool because I was like, 'cause I know we joke and we're always giving each other a hard time about just silly things, and so it was so funny. She shows up. Oh, there's Nikki. Oh, what does she want? And so, but that's the beauty about the spiritualityness and all this. We're all connected.
Yeah, you're like, I deployed and I still can't get away from her. She's following me.
And it was awesome. And then there was, I think there was another encounter where I think you were text me out of the blue. I think you were on the treadmill, You were like, hey, I'm gonna, try the same thing, but see what I'm doing this time or something like that. And
Yeah.
I said, okay, yeah, it's like, give me about 10, 15 minutes. I need to channel in and get focused. And sure enough, it was that big old smile and a little short wave. Like, it was so awesome because I was sitting there meditating on her. I was like, okay, all right, God, it was like, let me see what crazy message she's going to try to send me. It's just like,
Oh,
she's,
you know what? No, yeah, because the first time I think I was whispering a word to you. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was a word first, and then yeah, after I was on the treadmill and I was talking to you, yeah, I was like, let me see if I can do like an actual like physical projection, I guess. And then that's when yeah, I was over there waving at you.
yeah, it was so cool because I was sitting there with my eyes closed and I just, kind of just focusing. Then I see her head kind of just floating around, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see her. And then she had this big old grin on her face, this big smile, and then the little short choppy hand wave. I think it was her left hand. I'm trying to remember. And
Super quick, just
yeah, it was like, hey, what's going on, homie? What's going on? And then I told her, hey, this is what's going on. And she's like, oh my God, that's what I was doing. So, and all that stuff is amazing. All that stuff is great because you're taking your God-given gifts and you're taking to the next level. It's just phenomenal what you can do, your capabilities, and what is it through prayer, whatever you resonate with, and of course with a higher power that the experiences are endless. I mean, every day is something new, and it's something, so, like, all right, let's see what tomorrow brings, and it just gets better and better and better and better. And but anyways, you got anything else that
I
you
mean,
want to?
honestly, I'm just going to put it out there. Like, yes, I completely know how insane and crazy this sounds. Like, I will tell you straight up, like, yes, this sounds absolutely insane. But I am telling you, the message was there in the dream. I woke up and I'm like, you know what? Let me just see. God has done, X, Y, and Z. And now I'm being shown this. Why not? Exact like Jesse said, what do I have to lose? And yes, it actually sounds completely mental, but it happened. And I think that's just where our connection is. And I do feel like we are here to spread the positivity and open people's eyes to the possibilities of life. Through this journey, you will question yourself so many times. You'll be, people will come to you and deny you because of spirituality, certain things that they believe in. And that's kind of why we are very open to, we're not religious. We are just very open to spirituality. We just love God. It doesn't matter the name. It's whatever your higher power is. That's what's giving you that energy and everything. So I know that I got mad a couple times because people were telling me, oh, what he's doing, don't be listening to him. He's trying to lead you down the wrong path, stuff like that. And I actually remember confronting him and being like, man, I don't know why, but I am so mad at you right now because this person I was talking to is telling me that you're leading me down the wrong path and everything. But I'm so conflicted in my own head because I know what God has told me and the signs and the messages that he's given me. I was doubting myself and kind of what you were telling me. So I kind of got mad at you. But when I really thought about it, God kind of opened my eyes to just showing me how people manipulate words to make you doubt yourself, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. So through your walk, what we're talking about, people are going to deny you because they don't have that connection, and because they don't have that connection, it's not real to them. And then that's what was happening with, what was the situation happening with Nikki was someone was like, well, I go to church every Sunday, and I've never had anything like this happen to me. So he's, they a lot of people speak against things that they don't know, which they shouldn't really speak against if they don't know. So if they really don't know, they shouldn't really say nothing. And so it adds just more confusion to your walk. And some of the stuff we're talking about, like people are like, well, I'm not going to say nothing because I might get checked into mental health or something. But this is stuff is higher power. This is the light. This is love. This is stuff that is adding value to you, to those around you, to your family, taking what was impossible possible, making things happen. And so one of the messages I got is that, I was going to get a lot of tribulations from my walk with this because it's not common. We kind of just drifted away from listening to our soul, listening to what God has to to offer, because there's just so much going around and so much distractions in the world. And so anyways, if you're having stuff like this, let us know, talk to us, send us a message, maybe we can help you or guide you. And, I've never got any messages to hurt people. I never got any messages to harm people. I mean, these are just all light and love and removing problems, finding solutions to everything. I mean, this is stuff that's just all of love. And if you get anything other than love, I'd question it, because that's not coming from a higher power. So be careful, always do your own research, create your own experiences, look this stuff up, don't take people's word for it, because there are people that are, and it's sad to say, that are out there to spread darkness, to spread disease and, just everything the opposite of light. There are people out there doing that. So you have to protect yourself. You have to be ready, and most importantly, step out in faith. A lot of this stuff is, like Nikki was saying, it sounds kind of crazy, but it adds so much value to everybody. And then you start growing, and then you start learning. And
yeah, it's crazy. It feels crazy when you're doing it, all this stuff, but ultimately where I am in my life now, I'm very appreciative, and, I give a lot of gratitude towards it, because it has done nothing but change my life in a positive way. I know my life purpose now. I kind of always did, but now it's like, it's really confirmed, just to help people, bring the best out in people and let them show exactly why they were here, why they were put on this earth. Just bringing the best out of people is just, it makes me feel, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's definitely all worth it. Watching people grow gets me so excited. And I think that's why I'm, ever since we literally just posted the first podcast, and I was terrified, but now I'm just very excited to see where we go, because like we said, if we just touch one person, that's good enough for me. If I can help one person look at themselves deep down and find out who they truly are, instead of just being a zombie and just kind of going through the motions of every day, because there's so many people in this world that are just letting life live for them instead of living their life.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, life is short, and value life. Take advantage of every opportunity that we encounter. And we're not designed to destroy one another. And I think that's how this world is coming right now. Everyone wants to do more harm than good, which doesn't make sense, because that's not what we're designed to do here on earth. I believe we're designed to help one another, to lift up one another, to share each other's burdens. We're here to do so much more than hang on to negativity. If you're going through stuff, please know that there is a way out. And you just got to take that leap of faith into whatever your heart is telling you, whatever your soul is telling you. But anyways, please leave us, any feedback or anything, any kind of topics you want us to talk about or hit on, and always open to suggestions. And thanks again for all the feedback that was provided and all the guidance. Oh my God, the guidance has been phenomenal. I mean, everyone who's helped out. It's been great. It's not even been a week, and we've gotten so much help. We thank you for the help and helping us grow this and maybe kind of explain things. Yeah, thank you.
Well, we either gained some viewers or just lost about half of them. So only time will tell. I mean, if you are, intrigued with everything, awesome. We're doing our job. And if you absolutely think that we are nuts, then just keep listening, because, it could get fun from here. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nothing's easy. And so some of the stuff, people are, I think, afraid to open up to because of being judged or being criticized. Things, just shut down. And please know that these gifts are given to you. The more you learn how to use them, the more you could grow, and most importantly, help others. And I think that's the important thing. It's just benefits everybody. And I don't see any issues with benefiting from yourself and others. So, but anyways, you got anything else?
Nope, absolutely. So I guess that's the end of our rant for today. So thank you for listening if you've gotten this far, and we would really appreciate it if you liked our videos, shared it, commented. We are always open for feedback. We also had some people reach out who would like to share their story. So hopefully in the next couple episodes, we can have, some people come on and explain their testimonies or their stories on, their walk. And until next time.
Yeah. Thank you.